There's something so fun and freeing about playing with scale, texture, and color in footwear. And ugly shoes help us challenge style rules. And as a collective, we have been obsessed with sort of finding our own personal style lately. Largely thanks to the rise of social media, especially TikTok, which has helped us find and refine our own personal style thanks to the countless amount of content that we consume on the daily. Now, we can't talk about the renewed trend in ugly shoes without talking about micro trends, which are the niche trends and cores that circulate social media constantly. Think clean girl aesthetic or bloquette core. It's something new every week. And it can feel like everyone is sort of taking part in these micro trends. Micro trends mostly only live within the online sphere of the For You page. Now, micro trends are a touchy subject. They have their pros and cons, and sadly, the cons outweigh the pros massively. In terms of the pros, microtrends introduce us to new aesthetics to play with and gain inspiration from, which I think is an amazing thing. It's one of the best things about the internet that we can look at new cultures and learn new techniques from the comfort of our own home. Sadly, microtrends have just encouraged over consumerism, and finding new styles has become an excuse to buy a new wardrobe to then throw out in like a month. So shoes aren't exempt to this overconsumption, from the laces to the whole shoe. Like there's always new fun ways to style shoes, like chunky laces or ribbons or the lace shoes. And you can add like about a million charms to like jazz up your shoes and make you look cool and interesting and new. Silhouettes also fade in and out trend. Right now the ballet sneakers are trending and have taken the center spotlight in terms of that. In saying this, so shoes are probably the easiest and most sustainable way to try out a new look. Like, if you fall victim to one of these micro trends, shoes are probably the most sustainable way to try them out. They have a higher price point, which hopefully makes the buyer think twice before buying into a new trend. And in terms of style, they aren't particularly noticeable on first glance. So they can be a more understated way of trying out a new style. Let's talk about these shoes that popularized what we see now. Most notably, the Balenciaga Triple S, which takes the dad shoe silhouette and pairs it with a chunky sole, which was very much not in style at the time. At the time, what was trending was the Jordans and Huaraches, and these were very clunky and heavy and not what you wanted in a sneaker at all. So despite the risks, these shoes became insanely popular, and arguably these are the shoes that kickstarted the ugly shoe trend. And looking at these now, they do look extremely tame to me. I wouldn't say they're a shoe that completely push the boundaries, which goes to show sort of how far along shoe design has come, because they absolutely did push the boundaries when they released back in, I think it was 2017. But Balenciaga executed these shoes in a really tasteful way by blowing up certain proportions, such as the sole, and utilizing really nice colorways. And the Triple S has become a staple shoe within the shoe slash sneaker world. So following the global success of the Triple S, many shoe companies started releasing and reviving their chunky shoe designs. So one of the most popular being the FILA Disruptor 2. So these shoes had so many people divided, and there were so many memes making fun of their clunkiness and ugliness, and I vividly remember that every guy hated them, every girl wanted a pair, they had to have them. It was affordable to teen girls as Balenciaga was out of our price range. So FILA was the next best thing. I love these. I had a black pair with the hollow stripe in it, and hate what we want, but they were super comfortable. So who's really winning here? Now let's talk about the Onyx Tiger Mexico 66s. These shoes have definitely played a role in modern ugly shoe culture. They're extremely popular and gorgeous, undeniably a little ugly. The colorways are definitely out there. The original is in a very sort of bright, you could arguably say a bit tacky yellow. And there are other versions like the recent metallic series, which by the way, the red one with the white stripe, beautiful. So the recent metallic series sort of expands on the strange colorways that the brand has become so well known for. Let's talk about the original yellow and black shoes that were introduced to us through the Bruce Lee film Game of Death, which brought the shoes into the Western spotlight. The shoes became a style staple in Western culture in 2020 thanks to a lot of celebrity endorsements, one being Conan Gray, who became a brand ambassador for Onitsuka Tiger. And I think it's such a good collaboration because he very much embodies a brand, and especially with his latest release, which was in the same colorway as the shoes that he was pushing to us. It was just such a good collaboration. In more recent years, we've seen the return of both Crocs and Birkenstocks back into mainstream media. Nowadays, high street brands do a lot of collaborations with high fashion brands, and it is advantageous to both. For the high street brands, their products become sort of associated with luxury, and for high fashion brands, it opens up their customer base, allowing them to sell more products to a wider range of people and giving a people an in into the luxury style and lifestyle. The collabs such as Crocs x Simone Rocha or Birkenstocks x Dior have helped elevate the brands and make them seem more appealing to the high fashion community, and it's clearly works because the amount of platform Crocs I see at fashion weeks, incredible. As we come to the end of the chunky sole era, the opposite aesthetic has come to take its crown: flat shoes. So shoes like Adidas Sambas and Mexico 66 have become all the rage right now. I think it's a very natural turning point. People start to crave something different and new, and we go towards the opposite aesthetic, thinking it will make us stand out from the crowd and give us something unique. But really, we're just following another trend again. I'm going to categorize an ugly shoe as anything that falls outside of a socially acceptable shoe, which is clean, sleek, and minimal. So, thinking about shoes that are sort of universally loved, like loafers, heels, Louboutins, and within streetwear, shoes like Air Jordans or Nike Air would fall under this acceptable shoe umbrella. In contrast, ugly shoes are either oversized or weirdly shaped. They've got clashing colors or patterns, impractical, or on the other hand, extremely comfortable. They stand out, they're made to grab attention, and purposely fall outside of the binary of what makes a shoe cool, which is often decided by streetwear and sneakerhead trends because a lot of celebrities endorse these trends, and a lot of us want to follow what celebrities wear and do because it gives us a sense of luxury and community. So now we get into the most exciting part of the video, which is my favorite ugly shoes. And we're going to start off with the more normal shoes and transition into the stranger shoes. So it starts off with the most acceptable genre of ugly shoes within the list, which is the ballet sneakers, which are arguably the new shoe trend for, I think, since 2024 and in 2025 especially. And once a trend starts popping up in fast fashion shops like Bershka, which they have been, I've seen them, the trend is gaining some traction. Firstly, I love that the ballet sneakers are sort of taking the signature silhouette of ballet shoes and merging them with the trainer hardware and soles, and it creates a very girly yet sporty, streamlined silhouette. It's really cool and it's really strong. An example of this is Puma's latest release of the Speedcat ballet shoes. I don't think I would even class these shoes as ugly. I guess they're a little out there, but they're very much still casual enough for everyday use in very normal colorways, black and pink, and I think the other one's white. Number 2 is the Asics x Cecily Banson Mary Jane sneakers, which are my all-time favorite shoes. I've been obsessed with them since they released in summer 2023. They're girly, streamlined, and they play with texture, which I love. They play with texture through the use of, I think it's printed mesh inserts. I didn't actually research that bit, but they're an understated trainer that get a lot more interesting the longer you observe them, and they come in really gorgeous colorways. The silver is just beautiful, and they're just an overall all-round fab shoe. Number 3, Puma Mostro. Now, in my opinion, Puma are the understated king in creating shoes that are ugly yet chic and wearable. And this includes the Puma Mostro, designed as a hybrid of a 60s sprint sneaker and an 80s surf shoe. These shoes remind me a lot of climbing shoes, and the spiked soles give the shoes a really interesting texture. And these shoes were super popular upon their release. I think like people like Bjork bought them, but lately I haven't seen many people talk about them. But I think they're super fun and they're really cool, and they offer us a fresh silhouette that I don't think a lot of people are wearing nowadays, and is something that I would love to see come back into rotation. Evidently, I'm not the only one. Let's talk about the Khalil Strada x Puma collaboration, where this collaboration sort of reimagined the Puma Mostro in new colorways and played with the addition of laces and a floral applique. This reimagination is just like such a feat in design. I think there's so many textures, especially the plaid print shoes. There's so many textures, prints, and there's levels to the shoe that Strada has like managed to balance so seamlessly. They're like a masterpiece in design. They're very reminiscent of the Prada Ugly Chic in terms of the patterns and colors that she used. I mean, especially for the plaid shoe. Gorgeous, 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 understated, underrated shoe. When talking about Ugly Chic and referencing Ugly Chic, we can't not talk about Vivienne Westwood and her animal toe shoes. First appearing in her Spring-Summer 2000 collection, silhouette reappeared in both 2002 and 2020. They're very subtle, if you know sort of shoes. They're very clever in design, and a great example of how changing one thing can sort of change up an entire concept so drastically. So Westwood utilizes this technique a lot, like she blows up the proportions of buttons, or something in her design that offsets traditional look and offers us new silhouettes, and she's so good at it. And it's part of the reason why she's one of the greatest to do it, why she's one of the greatest designers out there. Number 5, Asics X the Kiko Costadino, have I said that right? Gel Kirill shoes. In talking about Asics and just this whole collaboration between these two, I could literally make an entire video just dedicated to the collaborations between them, because Costadino pushes the boundaries of shoes with every release. Like, he utilizes cutouts, asymmetry, and layering to create really, really interesting shoe designs. Each one is weird and funky in their own way, and there's really not a pair I dislike. Maybe the boxing shoes are a bit but I think there's still an interesting design that could be expanded upon. My favorite out of the collabs that he's done are the Gel Orania shoes, and we're going to talk about the Gel Kirill shoes. The final collab before Costadino became a curator within Asics. And these shoes are like so nostalgic to me. Like, the specific colorway reminds me of the shoes like my grandpa back in Japan would wear. I think the no laces give the shoes a uniqueness and a unisex silhouette that like allows the shoe to transcend all ages. Especially with this shoe, it's really interesting how colors can impact design so strongly. So the red colorway of this particular design gives the shoes an updated modern feel, whereas the muted colors lean into the sense of nostalgia and comfort. 6, the Onizuka Marathon tabbies. We can't have an ugly shoe video without talking about tabbies. Everyone's obsessed. Everyone wants a pair of the Maison Margielas. But we're going to talk about the less mainstream tabbies. They're marathon tabbies, which were released in 1953. They're definitely an interesting shoe. They have very strange colorways, weird patterns. I'm not the hugest fan of these shoes. I'd say they're more reminiscent of the workwear tabbies that inspired the tabby trend that we see now. But I think that these particular Onizuka shoes have lost the impact that they wanted to give, and I think they fall short of the impact that the workwear tabbies obviously has had on modern culture right now, and in culture in Japan as well. Number 7, Nike Air Riffs. Nike Air Riffs are a great idea and concept, but I feel Nike didn't really execute them well. The way they designed it and broke up the shoe into sections are a little off-putting, and I've seen a lot of TikToks talking about the poor make of the shoes, so I'm not convinced. In saying this, I think they do still have some really beautiful colorways, so maybe they are a shoe best enjoyed from afar through Pinterest and not actually to own. Let's talk ugly shoes. that I just can't love, even though I do respect the effort to create something new and interesting, but to me, they just fall short. Number one, the viral Vibram Five Fingers. These shoes fall perfectly into the category of comfortable shoes being made into fashion. Originally created for a barefoot experience, the fashion community like quickly snatched these up as like the latest fashion statement. And I really like, call me boring, but I can't get behind these because the toes and the colors, it's strange. A lot of the time I think people just wear it for shock value, but maybe I'm wrong and people just really, really love the design of these. I don't, but okay. Number two, the Simone Rocha X Crocs collaboration. So I do love a croc. I love a normal croc. I love a platform croc, and I love the mules. I think the mules are really cool. I'm not the biggest fan of Simone Rocha, anyways, so I might be a bit biased against her. But the silhouettes are kind of hard to like. The fisherman style, a bit tacky, and I'm not a fan of the charms. For a price point of like 150 to £200 for each shoe, I'd honestly rather spend my money on anything else, like anything else within this list. No. Last but not least, we go on to the Wellepets X JW Anderson collaboration. I love these. They're weird, they're fun. The frogs, the little like faces, they have personality, and I really like it. It's just got personality to them. Plus the fact that they're wellies just puts them out of the box anyways. I don't know how people would style these, and I'm really interested to see how it would be styled. Ugly shoes are 100% here to stay. As long as designers continue to innovate and create new silhouettes. The trend in ugly shoes, however, may fade out of fashion once again in a few years, and I think now is a great opportunity to try out new shoe styles whilst they're being pushed out so heavily. And either way, like, everyone has been sort of obsessed with experimenting with shoes lately. The main takeaway is that we need to bring like more fun and experimentation back into fashion. If that starts through shoes, then that's amazing. You know, experimentation with shoes will lead to experimentation with outfits, and I'd love to see more funky fits. And you know, fashion doesn't always have to be serious, and ugly shoes remind us that weird is good and fun is underrated, and we just need to have fun with it. Let me know in the comments, like, what's the ugliest pair of shoes you own? Do you secretly love them, or do you hate them? Just wish we'd go back to the sleek, minimal trainers, nothing extra, nothing crazy on it. Thank you for hanging out with me today and listening to me overanalyze ugly footwear, and I'll see you in the next video.